Rahim. In the name of God, the most benevolent, the most merciful. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. All praise due to the Lord of the worlds. Okay. All right. Hello, folks. Welcome. Welcome to another episode. I want to speak about the original awe, okay? The awe of the original. And I've named the title In Beings Inside a Simulated Testing Zone. I wanted to grab the attention of the in a similar fashion that, what was that show called? In a similar fashion, but a more pleasant way, of that show where there was this anime where there were these kids in an orphanage and then they realized there are these foods for like these evil beings or something, right? They pretty much realized the orphanage was a farm. And so I don't want to tell you that this world is a farm, even though it's very possible to see it like that, in the sense of the domestication of organisms through language and invisible considerations of fixed reality. But I found it interesting to explain to people that it's not a farm. We're not in a farm, okay? And we should have the ability to play a gentler song. All right, there we go. Where I'm going with this is simply this. Oh man, guys, when you're in management, you're not just solving your own problems. When you're headed towards management. All right. So I wanted to speak about 8 billion beings inside a simulated testing zone. I want to explain to you how the context of reality has a meaning. Oh my God, you're seeing me now. You saw nothing. You saw nothing. Anyways, to continue. First of all, you're listening to a Muslim sci-fi writer who is a visual thinker. 8 billion human beings inside a simulated testing zone. It is a perception that comes from the essential geometry of religious tradition. As a person who in 2023, I climbed the mountain, I was at the summit of my spirituality, and in 2024, I realized there is something more important and deeper than spirituality. Huge. And so for the first time in my mind, religion was giving an answer to a problem that spirituality could not, because spirituality could just become the problem. Spirituality is a subconscious form and a hidden form of self-worship. You see, a religious person acknowledges that they are the created and that there is a creator, and that the creator is beyond the capabilities of the created. Now, if you were a secular person looking at this ancient a mercy on mankind algorithm, for a secular audience, it took me a while to formulate this properly, but now I can speak about it well, as I have in the previous episodes. Pretty much for a secular audience, the geometry of the idea would translate to there being a system administrator. What does that mean? The same religious geometry for a secular audience would translate that there is a system, that existence is a system, that there is a system admin, that there are moderators, that you are members here, that the members and moderators have authority and participation in the simulated reality. The system admin is beyond the simulation. The system admin is uncaused, and uncaused being to the causal entities is an ultimatum. Dear listeners, dear human beings, will you think you're on a rock in the middle of nowhere and our ancestors, tricked us by giving us a massive storytelling simulation, right? And so we are not just creatures in an empty room giving names to things and naming things ourselves and thinking we are those. Let us not act like we are fiction when there is a non-fictional thing going on here, okay? And so you look at human beings, and so the members in the system are encouraged. This is the Islamic algorithm. They are encouraged not to seek help from members, not to seek ultimate help from members, from moderators, only from the system admin. You are in a world that can translate into a video game where it has 3 levels: level 1 body, level 2 mind, level 3 soul. In up to level 2, you become an entity, you become a sophisticated character in a story. Pretty much up to level 2, free will is in charge. Up to level 2, you're a character in a story that you move. You move the character. Level 3 is for a being, for a soul who has noticed the cyclical twirls, the cyclical changes of how they are an object and subject every day. And they have asked themselves, more than my simulated authority, is there something more going on in this world? And the answer is yes. Yeah. So, guys, it was on mute. I feel like I'm going to end this off, this episode. I'm pretty much going to tell you this. I'm going to make this part one at least to honor the episode. I don't know when part two will be next, but I just wanted to tell you that it's not that we're just organisms in an empty room naming everything ourselves and basking in our own self-simulated meaning. There is a component to us that is self-simulated where we identify as the free will, but we are self-simulating out of the options given. So technically free will is nullified in the bigger picture. In the bigger picture, it's either world is moving or it's being moved, divine decree. For me, I am no longer a believer in karma. I am no longer a believer in hard work, right? I am a very hardworking individual. The evidence, the proof of it is there here. But I am no longer, I don't believe in hard work. Why? Because to me, it's an system. It's like you can be an employee of a company and you can think of like, I'm going to do whatever I like, wishful thinking, right? And then see it was not the appropriate thing. So the thing about this world is more than it's a place free for all, do whatever you want. There seems to be a specific key that goes into a specific door and a specific door that opens. The specificity of this, to me, the way I have found a way where I've just come and telling my species, all the living beings, all the souls here, is that, hey souls, not only there is God, but we're also being tested. We are being tested to see how much we remember the original. We are simulated beings. So when the simulated remembers the original, the simulation has reached its fruition. You do not live anymore a life that is not in field. You are in the divine surveillance state. If you're a human being, you are. If you just listen to your decency, it amplifies for you. What is decency? Decency means that you are moving yourself and also a power beyond you is moving yourself. That means not others tell, like somebody can tell you to move and you move. That's like, so you can tell you can move yourself, others can move yourself, the world can move yourself. But if you were to wonder what unconditional force is moving, you will notice it is the force that understands prior to image. So what you are is, you're not an object actually, and you're not a subject, because every day you're waking up, your body's gradually changing, and the subjects, the ideas you have are changing. And guys, I probably shouldn't have taken that phone call, because you guys don't realize it. Here it's just reconnected, but it was like a 40-minute phone call. Anyways, I'll make this part one. Pretty much what's really in the depth of my heart is to remind my species that you're in a higher dimensional testing zone. It may look like subject oriented, but it's not. There is a higher power. We cannot get close to this higher power. Of course, this is one man's view, but we cannot get close to in my experience, the way I have contacted the higher power and access level 3 of life is by actually, I had to exchange something. And let me tell you what I had to exchange. I had to exchange worshiping myself for worshiping the beyond. And this is very difficult to do, because it means your mind simplifies. And if I was a person throughout the day, if you could say I had 1,000 different, not 1,000, I don't know, but let's say I had a lot of different perceptions, different ways, right? But now the amount of thoughts that move in my inner realms, I can even feel it. It's slower, but the energy I feel, the way I feel about myself is more correct. Why? Because before I was focused on discovering truth through myself. There's an issue with that. Like, I don't want to out Buddha, but enlightenment is not the end, ladies and gentlemen. Enlightenment is understanding the behind the scenes, but it's still not acting appropriately. Why? Because to be human is very advanced. And us, because we're so easily human, we think we got to be something else to be more. But the way it's, from a religious perspective, the way it comes across, it's as if we're 8 billion method actors, acting in accordance to the cultural programs and all the programs that raised us. Okay, and middle of this lifetime, as we're method acting as this character we're conditioned to be, we suddenly realize it's like we're not living our own life. Okay, and when that feeling comes, you will feel as if your programming doesn't match the rank of your soul. Let me explain. In Islam, there is this view that before all souls are born, they are with God in a realm called Alam al-Arwah, which translates to the realm of the souls. In this realm of the souls, before any of us were born in our mother's wombs, there was a ranking system. If you suddenly get along with someone, another soul in this world, and you don't get along with other souls, it's because of a ranking thing. Okay? But it's not something you're conscious of. Okay? So what does this mean? This means that it is very possible to be a soul born and inside a life in a sector of this planet, where you are raised in a sort of cultural program, but your soul's actual position outranks your lifestyle, your life. Now, what do you do when you realize you're outranked? You're overranked for your. Sorry, not outranked. You're overranked for your existential, culturally programmed position. You can't do much. So what you do is you become a watcher of yourself. So throughout the day, you're noticing your own life, but you're watching yourself from a distance. This occurs through a simplification of giving the burden of future self inner realm construction to the higher power. So when I'm saying I had an exchange with the higher power, the exchange was this: I'm stuck. I'm stuck in myself. There are problems that sincerely, as a soul, I have pushed that door. It just doesn't open. And I made a prayer. I let go of how my free will wanted to fix everything, because I realized I didn't create this world. I don't know how it worked exactly. And so I trusted the higher power. The same way when I was a young kid, I had trusted my parents. The same way in any situation I was, I had trusted it. Why? Because it became real. And I will tell you, in 10 years, what I couldn't do, in less than a few months, the problem of my life were solved by just one prayer and then going into faith mode and letting myself be surprised. There's another way human beings can live. There's a more advanced way, but it requires realizing you are not the higher power. And when you realize you are not equal to God, I don't care how yogic Buddhist you are. There's an error there. There's a spiritual error there. Man is not God. All the other people you see, they are not God. The artist is not the artwork. But spirituality, yoga, and meditation nullify yourself, therefore making you equal to everything. When you make everything equal to nothing, you have made the created equal to the creator. You are confusing your human life by being a soul that sees behind the scenes. Be careful. Spirituality, for a materialistic society, I understand it's the countercultural reaction, but the countercultural reaction to spirituality is realizing that you may think that you're everything right now, or you may think you're nothing at all. I've been in those states. I've walked that mountain, but you will reach a point where you will wonder, wait a minute though, I feel life is passing me by and I'm just being non-dual AF and nothing's happening. Let me tell you why. Because you're a creature of design. You're destined for designed activity here. You're not destined to sit down and be a tree. I have incredible respect for all human beings that have cared for the greatness of whatever we all are. Deep down, I don't even care, right? You might be someone having completely different beliefs than me, but if I just see something in you, just live for humanity, you're automatically part of my family. Anybody, I'm telling you, live for your species. We're candles in a dark room. Everything is temporary. You might be a beautiful person right now. I'm telling you, serve your world while you're in it. And I gotta apologize on behalf of the advanced civilizations to come, because you don't know, oh human species, how great everything could be right now. It's just this is what we chose. This is what we've been satisfied with. The human species is in some sense fucking lazy. We rather be comfortable and safe rather than advanced and in line with higher power. And guys, when I say higher power, I just want you to think like this, okay? We're simulated beings. There is a singular original point of the original world. When a person goes close to God, they're not just getting close to God. It's like a simulated form getting close to the original reality, the original power. That is what God is. God is not an image. It is the original reality. Heaven is the original. I don't even know exactly. Maybe there's even an original beyond that. Maybe only where God stands is original. But it's 100% obvious it's a simulation. Our body's changing, our mind's changing. From a secular perspective, we're a simulation of a faster event taking place inside a slower event. That's it. That's the only way we can interact. My mind and intelligence is moving faster than how the world is changing. Therefore, I can change faster than the world changes. Therefore, I have ideas on it. So keep this in mind. And rise, mankind, rise in the sight of the one and only. That means I was in 2023. I roared. I've been roaring this whole time. And I've been telling the species that the greatest idea that everybody will come to the conclusion is that an advanced civilization is the greatest argument. We're all living to advance everything else. Do you not get it? You might be right now a single person. You right now might be someone who's in a relationship. You might right now be a family man. But don't you see? You are living for the future. Everybody's living for the future, but just we're living for the future of the next 300 years. We're not living for the future of where the hell, not where the hell, where the heaven is everybody gonna go? Where is everything gonna go? What's gonna happen after we leave? Doesn't the human species care? Don't you want to put your affairs in your order before you leave? So that's the whole thing with the species. Advancing civilization, and what it took me, what I realized in 2024 is that the power source of this advanced civilization as a man in this world, men need honor. We need something to live for. And when we think about what are the greatest things to live for, it's obviously the higher, the more advanced, intelligent interaction level. So my advice would be immediately contact, go towards God, the original power that will, in some sense, build the advanced civilization. God is the power source, okay? And the reason it's the power source, because by getting close to God, you access the field of the original. What does that mean? That means, think of it this way. Think of it, there's this giant pitch black room, and in one corner of it, we put a lantern, okay? And there are people all around this room. The closer you get to the lantern, the brighter the reality, the more clear what the meaning of life is, the more real and accurate and obvious it becomes where you are and what you are. But the further you are away from the original power, you are in the darkness of a simulated reality. So whoever you are, get real. You're a simulated being. Okay, and we're being tested to see if we notice the original. And there we go. I hit the bullseye. That's it, guys. That was the point of the episode. You are being tested not to see physically to be a sophisticated object or subject. You're testing to see if you can notice beyond your free will. And it's so easy to notice beyond your free will. You know why? Because if you think your free will belongs to an idea, that is wrong, because when you make a decision or between a multiple choice, you have a bunch of thoughts. So you're not a single thought in an instant. You can have multiple thoughts in an instant, and the thoughts come and go. So you're not your thoughts. So what are you? That's where we're going up to level 3 here. Anyways, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. In the name of God, the most benevolent, the most merciful. All praise due to the Lord of the worlds. I'm just a member here. There's mods. For a decade I worked with the mods, and then I realized it's not the ultimate. It's not the most advanced. And the most advanced is directly going to the system admin, and the system admin is not a form, because if the system admin is a worldly form, it will loop. It will loop in an infinite land in projection. This simulation is subjectively infinite. It's objectively finite. That's the kind of world you're in. So if you worship a subjective form of an objective form, you're actually connecting the idea to infinity while the form is being finite. So anyways, keep that in mind. Anyways, guys, go towards the system admin. Contact the manufacturer for all problems. And let us enjoy. And let us know that may God forgive the human species, and may the human species, through blessed divine decree, become fascinated, by the greatness of everything. In the whole time that we're thinking we're miserable, we're weak, we're looking down ourselves, is the whole time we should be looking up to everything that we will do. You're greater than what the past has told you. And the future, in some sense, it's a blessing if you walk into it righteously. Righteously means don't be too pushy here in this world. Rise, mankind. Rise in the sight of the one and only. Thank you for listening. This is